want people to understand that they're not alone, that there are other people feeling exactly the way they're feeling, that their behavior is not insane, that they have a disease, and it's not their fault. There's a very famous kind of line that people don't change. I happen to know that people do change, and I see that every day. I see people getting better. I see the lights in their eyes come on, and they get through the terrible part of addiction and the detox, and they're able to live a normal life as long as they do a certain amount of work every day.
God is everywhere. You just have to clear your channel or you'll miss it.
Best thing about me, bar none, is if somebody comes up to me and says, I can't stop drinking, can you help me? I can say yes and follow up and do it. That's the best thing. And I've said this for a long time, when I die, I don't want friends to be the first thing that's mentioned. I want that to be the first thing that's mentioned. And I'm going to live the rest of my life proving that.
I was lucky enough to be involved in about 19 failures at an early age, so I'm realistic about the success I'm having and how quickly it can go away. What's important is to be smart about it. You never know where one thing will lead. I guess the lesson is take every opportunity because something might come of it. My feeling on therapy is it's a luxury, and if you're fortunate enough to get some smart people to talk to about life, then that's fortunate, and you should go for it. Find a friend who'll quit something with you. You'll be amazed what that does for a friendship. I think you actually have to have all of your dreams come true to realize they are the wrong dreams. To be a comedian, you have to have some darkness behind it. I certainly draw on my past, and it helps. Addiction is like the Joker. It just wants to see the whole world burn. If you spend too much time looking in the rearview mirror, you will crash your car. I'm certain that I got famous, so I would not waste my entire life trying to get famous. You have to get famous to know that it's not the answer, and nobody who is not famous will ever truly believe that. When someone does something nice for someone else, I see God. But you can't give away something you don't have. So, I try to improve myself daily. When those moments come and I am needed, I've worked out my and do what we are all here for, which is simply to help other people. The man takes the drink takes all the rest. Being in a kitchen always brings to mind God. He showed up to me in a kitchen, of course, and in doing so, saved my life. God is always there for me now, whenever I clear my channel to feel His awesomeness. It's hard to believe, given everything, that He still shows up for us mortals. But He does, and that's the point. Love always wins. Have you ever stood on the water's edge and tried to stop the wave? It goes on regardless of what we do, regardless of how hard we try. The ocean reminds us that we are powerless in comparison. It is very odd to live in a world where if you died, it would shock people but surprise no one. I am no saint, none of us are. But once you have been at death's door and you don't die, you would think you would be bathed in relief and gratitude. But that isn't it at all. Instead, you look at the difficult road ahead of you to get better and you are pissed. Something else happens too. You are plagued by this nagging question. Why have I been spared? Addiction wakes up before you do, and it wants you alone. Alcoholism will win every time. As soon as you raise your hand and say, I'm having a problem, alcohol sneers, you're gonna say something about it? Fine, I'll go away for a while, but I'll be back. It never goes away for good. Drinkers think they are trying to escape, but really they are trying to overcome a mental disorder they didn't know they had. Eureka, someone understands me. But reading that was both wonderful and horrible. It meant I wasn't alone. There were others who thought like me, but it also meant I was an alcoholic and would have to quit drinking one day at a time for the rest of my life. If you're gonna blame your parents for the bad stuff, you also have to give them credit for the good stuff, all the good stuff. Do you know what St. Peter says to everyone who tries to get into heaven? When I looked blankly, the man who once was president said, "Peter says, don't you have any scars?" And when most would respond proudly, "Well, no, I don't," Peter says, "Why not? Was there nothing worth fighting for?" These men were not drinking to escape. They were drinking to overcome a craving beyond their mental control. Nobody ever thinks that something really bad is going to happen to them until it does. You know how sometimes the universe has plans for you that are hard to believe? How the world wants something for you even though you've done your best to close off that avenue? I am me, and that should be enough. It always has been enough. I was the one who didn't get that, and now I do. I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a person, and a good one at that. I want good things for myself and others, and I can continue to work for these things. There is a reason I'm still here, and figuring out why is the task that has been put in front of me, and it will be revealed. There is no rush, no desperation. Just the fact that I am here and I care about people is the answer. Now, when I wake up curious, wondering what the world has in store for me, and I for it, and that's enough to go on. Addiction, the big terrible thing, is far too powerful for anyone to defeat alone. But together, one day at a time, we can beat it down. My mother's beautiful. She was a star in every room she entered, and she's certainly the reason I'm funny. I cannot stop. All I had control over was the first drink. After that, all bets were off. Once I believed the lie that I can just have one drink, I am no longer responsible for my actions. I made the choice to live in my head and not in my heart. It was safer in my head, and you couldn't be broken there, not yet anyway. I don't believe in half-assing things anymore. The path of least resistance is boring, and scars are interesting. They tell an honest story, and they are proof that a battle was fought, and in my case, hard won. I have many scars now. Alcoholics hate two things: the way things are and change. No more, say less. Reality is an acquired taste. In the final episode, you'll see that I'm wearing a white shirt and tan slacks, and both look at least 3 sizes too big for me. Compare this to the difference in how I look between the final episode of season 6 and the first of season 7, the Chandler Monica proposal episodes. I'm wearing the same clothes in the final episode of 6 and the first of 7. It's supposed to be the same night, but I must have lost 50 pounds in the off-season. My weight varied between 128 pounds and 225 pounds during the years of Friends. Excuse me? You went for a walk and quit drinking? I have spent upward of $7 million trying to get sober. I have been to 6,000 AA meetings. Not an exaggeration, more an educated guess. I've been to rehab 15 times. I've been in a mental institution, gone to therapy twice a week for 30 years, been to death's door, and you went for a walk? I stashed that pill in my pocket, and I swear to God, I think if I'd never taken it, none of the next 3 decades would have gone the way they did. Who knows? I just know it was really bad. I'd always wanted to be the only funny one, but now, at the ripe old age of 24, I quickly realized that it's better if everyone is funny. I remember thinking, man, no one taught me the rules of life. I was a complete mess of a person, selfish and narcissistic. Everything had to be about me, and I matched that with a really handy inferiority complex, an almost fatal combo. The key to the problem, I would come to understand, was this: I lacked both spiritual guidelines and an ability to enjoy anything, but at the same time, I was also an excitement addict. This is such a toxic combination, I can't even. I had a monster in my brain, a monster who wanted to get me alone and convince me to have that first drink or pill, and then that monster would engulf me. If you put anything in front of sobriety, you will lose that anything anyway if you drink. There are 2 ways to go when you hit that crossroads in your life. There is the bad way when you sort of give up, and then there is the really hard way when you fight back. I went the hard way and came out of it okay. Now I'm sitting here and doing great. My favorite 6 words in recovery are trust God, clean house, and help others. I have what I like to call a chin neck. My chin just flows rather easily into my neck. I used to be a real Prince Charming if I went on a date with a girl, but then I'd get to where I was likely to have a stroke from the stress of keeping up my act. I've since learned the key to a good date is to pay attention on her. The thing is, if I don't have sobriety, I don't have anything. After I got my first laugh on stage, I was hooked. I love the idea of the one, but I actually believe that there isn't a Miss Right. There are 12,000 Miss Rights out there, and it's all timing. If there's a silence in a room, I'll try to fill it as soon as humanly possible. As an actor, being on autopilot is the worst thing possible. The key to sitcom success is miserable people. If you see a happy couple, it's just gone, like when Sam and Diane got together on Cheers. I loved playing Chandler. I grew up playing that part. I grew up babysitting and always enjoyed it. I love family. A couple of my closest friends have kids, and I'm their godfather. And that's one of my greatest pleasures in life, just picking them up from school and hanging out with them. I was a guy who wanted to become famous. There was steam coming out of my ears. I wanted to be famous so badly. You want the attention, you want the bucks, and you want the best seat in the restaurant. I didn't think what the repercussions would be. I certainly wear my heart on my sleeve, and I think that comes out in the characters that I play. There's a yearning or something that comes out of me that people relate to. I think we need to educate our doctors about addiction. I think if you look back at all those great comedies on television in the past, it's all lovable losers that gathered together. Taxi and Cheers, Seinfeld and Friends. A lot of people think that addiction is a choice. A lot of people think it's a matter of will. That has not been my experience. I don't find it to have anything to do with strength. When I was like 15, I realized there could be a career in making people laugh, like you could get paid to do it. That was insane to me. When I die, I'd like friends to be listed behind helping people.